Once upon a time, in a land where mountains touched the sky and rivers flowed gently below, there existed two powerful forces of nature, the mighty mountain and the wise river. Each had its own strengths, yet neither fully understood the true value of unity until faced with a common challenge. Juno. The mountain was proud of its size and strength. Towering above the land, it believed itself to be unshakable, impervious to the forces of nature. It stood firm for centuries, unyielding to the storms, the winds, or the changes in the world below. The mountain often boasted to the skies above, "I am the greatest, the strongest, the most unshakable of all. No storm, no wind, no force can ever move me. I stand for eternity." It was proud of its immobility and believed that to remain steadfast was the ultimate strength. At the base of the mountain, the river flowed with a quiet confidence. Unlike the mountain, the river was not solid or rigid. It was constantly moving, adapting, and flowing around obstacles with grace. The river understood the power of flexibility and change, a lesson the mountain had yet to learn. The river knew that its strength was not in its ability to stand still, but in its capacity to move, to bend, and to flow. "I may not be as tall or as rigid as the mountain," the river would say, "but my flow is steady. I know when to change direction, to bend, to flow around obstacles. It is through movement that I endure, through flexibility that I thrive." Though the mountain and the river were both powerful in their own right, they were worlds apart in how they saw strength. The mountain saw strength in stillness, while the river knew that strength was in adapting to the world around it. Zill, 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 zill. One day, a mighty storm began to brew. The clouds gathered dark and heavy in the sky, and the winds began to pick up. The mountain, unwavering as always, stood tall, confident in its ability to withstand any storm. "This storm will be like all others," the mountain declared. "I have withstood many, and I will stand strong against this one." The river, however, could sense the storm was unlike anything they had seen before. The air felt charged with intensity. It warned the mountain, "Mountain, this storm is unlike any we've seen before. I can feel its power. We must face it together." But the mountain, too proud to admit it might need help, scoffed. "I can withstand it on my own," it said. "I am the mountain. I am invincible." The storm hit with full force. Violent winds howled through the sky, and rain poured down in torrents. The river, though it swelled and rushed fiercely, was able to bend and flow with the storm. It moved around rocks, adjusted its course, and adapted to the rising waters. The mountain, however, stood rigid and unmoving, trying to resist the storm's fury. As the storm raged on, the mountain began to feel the pressure. The force of the wind and rain started to erode its surface. Cracks appeared in its once unyielding foundation. The mountain realized, with a growing sense of worry, that even its might could not hold up forever. "I am too strong to be moved," the mountain shouted. But the cracks grew deeper, the pressure more intense. "I cannot be moved. Can I?" Exhausted, the mountain began to understand the truth. The storm was not like any it had faced before, and standing alone against it had not worked. The river, on the other hand, had been flowing, bending, and adapting all along, surviving the storm by going with the flow. "I have always stood alone," the mountain said, its voice softer now. "But now, I feel the weight of the storm. I am not invincible after all. The force of the water, the wind, and the rain. I cannot hold them back alone. I waited and waited and waited 7 years. Then suddenly the rain started to fall. The river, sensing the mountain's struggle, called out calmly, "Mountain, we can do this together. Let me help you." I flow around the obstacles, moving, bending, adapting. You are strong in your stillness, but I am strong in my movement. Together, we can withstand this storm. The mountain, realizing that it couldn't face this challenge alone, allowed the river to flow into its cracks, softening the pressure. The river's flow gently surrounded the base of the mountain, working together with the mountain's strength to hold back the storm. While the mountain stood firm, it no longer stood alone. The river's flexibility and the mountain's immovability formed a powerful alliance. The mountain acknowledged the river's wisdom. I see now. My strength is not only in my immovability, but in knowing when to accept help. Your flow, your adaptability, it is the strength I need in this moment. The river responded with understanding. And your firmness, your unyielding presence, gives me the stability I need to move with purpose. Together, we balance each other. As the storm finally began to calm, the mountain and the river stood together, no longer opposing each other, but united in their strength. The winds softened, the rain lightened, and the clouds parted, revealing a clear, peaceful sky. The mountain was still tall, and the river was flowing smoothly, their bond stronger than before. May, Earth. Together, they had learned a valuable lesson. True strength lies not in standing alone, but in finding balance and working together. The mountain, with its firm resolve, had learned the power of flexibility, and the river, with its constant motion, had learned the power of stillness. Each had discovered that they were stronger together. Together, the mountain said, "We have learned the true meaning of strength. It's not about standing alone, nor about bending alone. It's about working together, finding balance, and overcoming whatever comes our way." "Exactly," the river agreed. Through each other, we discover new strengths, not just in what we can do on our own, but in how we lift each other up. Story of the world came to an end. The story of the mountain and the river teaches us that in life, we often face challenges that seem insurmountable on our own. But when we work together, we can find strength in each other's differences. Strength is not always about being unyielding. Sometimes it's about knowing when to bend and when to hold firm. True power lies in cooperation, balance, and unity. By combining our strengths, we can overcome the greatest obstacles. When we face struggles, we may find that alone we struggle. But together, there is no challenge we cannot face. Just as the mountain and the river stood stronger than ever, united, so too can we find strength in working together.